Welcome, everybody, to our Thursday Talk series, Wisdom in Action, and welcome to the Manhattan Meditation Center and for Peace Village Retreat Center. They're collaborating on this Thursday Talk. So everybody that is on YouTube, Facebook, and live in Zoom and at the center, so glad you can join us. So a couple of things. So our Thursday Talk series, you can register for it online on our website. And just wanted to remind everybody that you just need to register once. And you can actually keep the link and go back to it each week. This is a weekly program. So we're so glad that you are joining us today. And also, we're in the midst of a workshop or a course, Reviving the Higher Self, and we do have a short course that's coming up on July 8th and 9th. So if you are interested after this talk, please feel free to head to the website so that you can actually sign up for that course as well. So for all of you must know Sister Rona, so I'm going to go ahead and hand it over to Sister Rona for today's talk.
Hello, everyone. Good evening. Welcome. Those from the course, those who are joining for the talk. There are many funny understandings that we may be having about spirituality, about ourselves, about the word soul. And the way we look at life, the way we interact with others, the way we interact with matter, we may be having lots of questions in our mind. How is this interaction going? We are kind of, many of us are in some sort of, rhythm, and we go about our life and we go about things the way we think it should be and the way everybody else does, and we follow what we have been shown growing up. But maybe there are many more deeper things that we ignore, that we maybe even forget to pay attention to. And so tonight we will attempt to explore some deeper laws, deeper dynamics of life, and how they affect your feelings and your experiences, but also how your feelings and your experiences may be affecting life and inviting certain circumstances. So it is an attempt to explore that. But before we go into that, let us start with some moments of silence and use that silence to ask yourself the question, who am I and what is the purpose of my life? Who am I? What is the purpose of my life? Are others joining, Suja?
I'm not seeing too many of them at this moment. We're still have the other one open, just to direct them.
Thank you. At some stage, I was driving a car. This was the time when I was living in the Caribbean. And for work purposes, there was a car. And but the car was a bit old. I think 18 years old or something like that. But it was working fine. No problems. It just looked a bit old-fashioned. So one day I go to work and a colleague of mine, we drive in together and he parks next to me. And he says to me, Rona, this car is really not good anymore. You should get rid of it. I said, why? It works very fine. He says, but it doesn't look good. And as he was saying, as a doctor, you should drive something more dignified, was the word he's using. And I said, but the car always works. There's nothing wrong with it. He said, no, you should get a new one. Look at mine. I just got a new one. So he just got a new one. He's showing me his new car. And he said, you should get a new one. I said, I was not convinced. So we both went to work. And then at the end of the day, by chance, both of us again came out. We finished work together. And again, we were walking together to the cars that are parked next to each other. And again, he comments, you should get a new car. This car really doesn't look good. And he gets into his car and his new car doesn't start. So in me, now this little voice of ego comes up and says, look at this, a new car, and it doesn't start. Why do I need to get a new car? My car always starts. Day or night, weekend or no weekend, whenever I need to go, middle of the night, I need to go somewhere, it starts. Night shifts never fail me. And I get in the car, and what happens? My car doesn't start. My car doesn't start. And at that time, of course, he was saying, your car always starts, no? And his car starts at that moment and he drives off. For 2 hours, I'm trying to get the car started. The mechanic comes, the different people come and look. They can't find anything wrong with the car. But it doesn't start. So I get back into the office and I think, let me sit and meditate. Let me do what I tell others to do. So I sit and I meditate. Thoughts change. And when I finish meditation, I think, let me go pick up, let me call a cab. So I pick up the phone to call a cab. But thought comes, try one more time. You're calm now. So I went out, start the car, and the car starts. Now, this may seem like a silly example, but I feel that scene happened to teach me a lesson. There was nothing wrong with the car, but it was my ego acting up. And that scene taught me, calm down, no need. And when through meditation, I shifted attitude, internal attitude. Situation changed. Another example, there was one lady. At that time, I used to work in the geriatrics ward, geriatrics clinic. And there were 2 wards that I was attending. And there was one lady who was so annoying, very demanding, and they are there permanently. No? Many of them, or at least long term, many months they stay, and many stay until the end of their life. A geriatrics clinic. And so this lady is there. She's there for life. She's very demanding. She fights with everyone, very conflictive. Whatever you do is a problem. Whatever you don't do is also a problem. You know, that kind of, but she was also verbally abusive. And probably if she could, physically abusive, but she couldn't. So, and so, of course, everybody dislikes her. The nurses just go because they have to, but, you know, and everyone is kind of trying to not have to go in her room to attend to her. And at some stage, it became really so bad because, you know, because of her attitude, she's missing out on many things. Nobody makes the extra effort to do anything nice, or even her own family. They just drop off the clothes, they just drop off things, but they avoid going to her. And one day I thought, you know, we are just in this herd mentality. This lady is suffering, and more we treat her like that, more she will be aggressive. So one day I thought, let's experiment. No matter what she says, I will smile and be nice. And give what, and I will take time, because she was demanding time of me, time with the doctor and time to talk time. So I said, okay, I'm going to take a whole hour out of my schedule to be with her. No matter what she says, no matter what she does, I'll be there and attend to her. That's what I did. Of course, it started with all kind of accusations and unpleasant things, but I stayed. I stayed quiet, listened, responded where it was appropriate, explained whenever she asked and needed. And at the end, she cried. She became emotional. Since that day, we were best friends. You understand what I'm trying to say? Sometimes a situation is in a certain way, we judge it, nice, not nice, like, dislike, love, hate. And that stamp we put on that situation, and we then act and think and have the attitude according to that stamp that we put. And what will come back to us? According to what we put out, isn't it? So our inner dynamics have very much to do with how we manifest and express, and that also invite what comes back to us. You understand? Now, it is useful to get a bit of a grasp on your inner dynamics, at least to begin to understand what is going on. What are your tendencies? What are your ways that you interpret things? Even to understand that you interpret things according to the glasses or the color of your, what is it? Your thinking. Yeah. Yeah. So I'll give some simple examples. There are places in this world where people extract the front teeth. They take out the front teeth to look beautiful. Because to have a hole in front here, in that culture, in that perspective, in their way of thinking, that is beautiful. You look at it and you say, they say, why don't they fix it? Get to the dentist, put some false teeth and fill the hole. So their perspective, the hole in the front teeth, row of the front teeth, is beautiful. Our perspective is ugly. Who is right? Both are right or both are wrong. It is just a matter of what is your perspective. So it is very useful to know that things that happen or things that are there, the way you perceive it has to do with the way you are conditioned to think. And what you experience from that is dependent on what you are conditioned to think. Here we paint nails. We pull out hairs from the eyebrow. We pierce our ears and then some nose. Why we do that? To make ourselves beautiful. We think, yeah, because we think it is beautiful. Put color here, put color here. No, we think it makes us beautiful. We do things because we are conditioned to think in a certain way. In some countries, when a baby is born, and this is a bit, let's say 100 years ago, 50 years ago, in some countries, especially in rural areas, if a baby is born, they get together, the village people and the heads get together and they cry. You know why? Yeah. In their culture and in their perspective, this is something bad happening. This baby comes into this world to suffer. Here in New York City, when a baby is born, what we do? We throw a party. Yeah. Baby shower. Yeah. Who's right? Who's wrong? It's a question of perspective. In some cultures, somebody dies. They throw a party. Why? Because that is the best thing that can happen to a person according to their thinking. You're leaving this world, going to a place of peace and happiness, going to nirvana. Somebody dies here, we cry, we are sad. Same thing, what I experience from it has to do with the way I am conditioned to think about it, my perspective. There, further down the street, there is a bus stop. The other day, the bus stops. There was a couple, an elderly couple, standing at the bus stop, and there were a few others around also at the bus stop. And the bus stops there, letting people out, and this elderly man tries to get in the bus, and he collapses. He collapses right there. Wife starts to scream. Someone else, what is it? He looks at the man, he puts him in a long position, he frees up his thigh, frees up, he takes off, makes this, and he puts him in a certain position that he can breathe. The bus driver calls 911. Same situation, 3 people respond differently. Why? Their perspective, their conditioning, their mindset is different. Why? The other person, he has some first aid abilities, and he helps. The driver is trained 911, any emergency. Same situation, 3 different responses based on the mindset, based on the conditioning. Now, what happens in life, or the scenes that come to you, may be an invitation based on what is going on in your mind, or it comes to you. But how you respond to that situation has to do with your mindset and with your conditioning and with your thinking. Now, what is the best mindset to have in any given situation? What is the best response to give in any situation? Can we be prepared for that? And what mindset invites favorable circumstances? This is what is useful to reflect on and to experiment with. Understand? Now, is life bad? Is Mother Nature out to torture us? No. Not unless you see it that way. Very good. This is an intelligent answer. Not unless you see it that way. So there may be certain situations that may be there. What is my interpretation of that situation? This is what I have to ask myself. And I'll give another example because there is an interaction between the being, the self, and our environment. Now, say there is fire here. Is fire bad? Not in and of itself. It is just a phenomena that exists in nature, fire. And human beings have used fire to create comfort for themselves. We all take showers with hot water, and that is because there is a source of heat, which is fire. Cooking, well, these days there are all kinds of things. Cooking is because there is heat. Your apartments are heat and cold according to your liking because there are these elements of heat and cold. Barbecue is because there is fire, which is a favorite pastime in the US. So fire is not a bad thing, and we can even use it for our benefit. But if this fire is here, and I put my hand in the fire, what happens? Pain and burning. Now, why is this pain? This fire is giving me pain. Yeah, so the fire is giving me pain, the fire is burning, the fire is creating sorrow for me. Is that the right expression? The fire is not giving me that. I am not doing what is sensible. There's nothing wrong with the fire, but I shouldn't put my hand in it. Isn't it? I mean, this is obvious, but this is what happens. I am putting my hand in the fire. That is not something I should be doing. I am not sensible. True? And so this pain and this burning is telling me, take out your hand. Don't keep it in the fire. So the pain is what? It's a messenger. It's a messenger, and it is telling me something you're doing is not sensible. Something you're doing is not in line with the laws of nature. This body is no problem, this hand nothing problem, fire not a problem, but hand in the fire, that is a problem. This is obvious, but so this pain that is coming is not because the fire want to torture me. It's the fire telling me, be sensible. Change your posture. Change your position, and you will be fine. And then you can use the fire to heat water and drink your coffee or whatever. This is a very simple example and an obvious example. But if our mental postures, physical postures are more complex, the pain is also more complex. Physical illness, for example, is a form of pain. Different forms of physical illness, they're a form of pain. What is the message? Or are we even trying to understand the message? Or do we just run to the doctor, take some pills, and wish that it finishes? Hope that it finishes. But if there is a message behind, we need to learn. Nothing wrong with taking medication if it is required, or therapy. But what is the message behind? To change your thinking, to change yourself, to change your lifestyle, to change what you are using the body for. Now, if you get a car, it comes with a manual, isn't it? It's supposed to do this, don't do this, don't do this. The manual. If you don't follow the manual, what happens? Car will break down. You have choice. You can do what you want with the car. But if you don't follow the manual, don't be surprised that it doesn't last long. If you take your car for a swim in the Hudson River, what will happen? It will finish very quickly because it is not meant for swimming. Huh? I'm making this sound ridiculous, but to understand the mechanism. This body is like the vehicle and the car of the soul. If you use it for what it is not meant to be, what will happen with the body? And then we can blame anybody if we want to. We can blame God, ever, but we have used the body for what it was not meant to be. Now, do you think your body is meant for stress? Do you think your body is meant for feelings of hatred and anxiety and jealous and greedy and arrogance and lustful behavior, anxiety, fear? It wasn't. So the physiological system, the hormonal systems of the body will not be favorable for longevity, for health. I'm not even talking about the brain as such or your mind. So there are many simple things, like, for example, sleep. The body is meant to have certain amount of sleep and quality sleep. The body is meant to sleep at a certain time and get up at a certain time. Simple things. Proper oxygen, healthy food. If we don't do all of that or break it, what will happen with the body? Now, why are we not using the body according to the manual? Partly, maybe, sometimes we don't know what is the manual or certain areas of the manual. So we need to find out. These days, nobody reads manuals anymore. You just start using everything without finding out. So same, we have started to use this body without knowing manual, and we just look at what everybody else does and we do what everybody else does. And when we get sick, we say, oh, what did I do wrong? Does this happen in the US? Blood pressure, kinds of things. Yeah. These are all messages that matter is sending you. That something inside your thinking, something inside your feelings, something inside your attitude, something inside your knowledge, even maybe you need to up your knowledge. Something needs to be changed. Yeah. Deal with it. Yeah. 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 Someone here is saying, sometimes you may be worrying about things and you don't know how to deal with worries. So find out how to deal, how address certain things. Yeah. Yeah. So someone here is asking, how do you stop the worry? Yeah, it is in the drawer. How do you stop the worry? I mean, I'm not going into that today because that requires a much further discussion. But no, what I'm saying is if you observe you have this habit of worry, then you have to find out how to come out of worry. Yeah. Yeah. Because in that worry, there are many, many unhealthy, hormones that are released that are not useful for not only the body, but for your own thinking itself. So you get a feel of how your inner dynamics invite external situation, and external includes body, invites bodily situations. Now, I want to share an anecdote. Was one of the tribes in the Amazon forest. There used to exist a tribe. They are not there anymore because of that tribe. They had the belief that the older you get, the fitter you are physically. This was the belief system amongst that tribe. And so if from one village to another, you have to send a message. You send, so for example, you take a runner who is 30 years old. He runs and brings the message from one village to another. But if it is an urgent message, then you look for someone old, 50, 60 years old, because they run faster. They are healthier, they're fitter. That was how it worked in that tribe. And they were all in the belief system, the older you get, the stronger and physically fitter you are. That was their belief system. That is what they observed. In that tribe, there were no physical illnesses. People died at old age in their sleep. Then Western civilization moved in. And they got to read our anatomy books and physiology books. And they got introduced to antibiotics and smoking and drinking. And things changed. Now that is not there. They just have the memories of a time that it was like that. But their belief system has changed. And therefore, their experiences have changed. Now, this is something to experiment with for yourself and with your own life. When I talking about myself, for example, if I make a wrong decision with finances, so for example, I go buy something that I don't really need. Spend money, don't really need. Some other problem with money will come sooner or later. If I have thoughts of dislike and unpleasantness about someone, even if that person at this moment is nice to me, sooner or later, some situation will happen. And there will be some conflict or some clash. And then, of course, in our normal superficial consciousness, I blame them. But I have been having these thoughts before. Understand? So these inner dynamics have a close relationship with situations that come to me. And when these situations do come and they are unpleasant, there is a message there for me. And if I adjust to that message, then either that situation doesn't bother me anymore, or maybe even the situation moves on because I've learned the lesson. Understand? Now, normally we are not used to thinking like this. We believe the world and life just happens to us. And some of it is unfair. Or we don't just think, we just don't think about it. We just go about things. But maybe it is not like that. And maybe you have that ability to create, and that it is an interaction and a response. Now, what kind of mindset, what kind of consciousness would invite the best? Peace, beauty, love, positivity. So, how can you be in a mindset of peace, beauty, and love? To believe, someone here saying that to believe you are that, you are those qualities. Someone is saying to stay close to the source, to stay close to God. So consciousness. I'll go over to the board and we will use some sketches to explore this dynamic a bit further. Normally, as some of you may have seen this sketch already, but I just want to revise it before we come to the next session of the mental posture. So normally in general, ordinary consciousness, we think of ourselves and our lives in a very simplistic way in this matter. I am born at a certain moment in time, and I am nothing and I am no one. And I go through life and I become someone from what I receive from the environment. No, I receive this body, and there are parents with the body, and parents bring with them a certain social status, a certain culture, maybe a religion, certain social possibility, educational possibility, friends, contacts. What I receive from external makes me into someone. No? This is, we might not necessarily ever verbalize it like that, but this is worldwide actually almost. That is the way we are conditioned. I am born and I'm nothing and no one, and I become someone by what I can acquire, what I can accumulate from things around, from people around, from education, from job, from whatever. And then at the end, when the lifespan finishes, I lose it all again and become nothing and no one. And this is more or less the mindset in which many of us live. And what comes to us is by chance, luck. Some things by working hard, but even people who work hard doesn't necessarily get things, and some people don't do anything and they get everything. So there is this idea that it is not really any justice in this, it is just by chance, whatever. Spirituality, spiritual knowledge tells something very different. Spirituality says you are a spiritual being of consciousness, a soul, invisible experiencer, a being with higher nature and higher potential, a being with God-like. potential. You are that, period. And this being comes into a body, associates with the body, in the womb, and then comes out of the womb, takes birth. And then whatever comes or not comes from the outside, including the body, it is extra. Body is extra, and all the things around and that are coming with the body and situations, it is extra. It is an extra experience. And that experience just ends, but I remain the eternal, timeless, free, spiritual, peaceful, lovely being of consciousness or soul. If we live with this mental posture, is very different, and your feelings are very different than when you live with this mental posture, with this consciousness. Whatever comes is extra and is not mine really anyway. So when it goes, it's fine. I remain who I always was, a spiritual being of light, a soul, child of the Supreme with higher divine potential forever. And life in a body is an extra temporary experience. So these are like two different mental positionings. If I position myself like this in life, everything is extra. It's nice. When something is extra, you can appreciate. But when it's not there, you don't miss it. You don't feel I need it, otherwise I will die. It's extra. But when it is extra, you can still use it. You can still appreciate it. You can still enjoy it. But in your mind, it is extra. Yeah, you go to wherever, what Disney World or so. You enjoy the whole whatever goes on and not goes on. It is nice. It's extra fun. But if it doesn't happen, that's fine also. Same. But in this case, there is emptiness. There is basic emptiness. And then whatever I can get can, for a while, relieve me from that feeling of emptiness and nothingness. And there is anxiety and fear that it will end. Now, which one is a more sensible positioning? Obvious, no? Obvious.
Expectations.
Yeah. Sharon here is saying in this mindset, you have expectations. Yeah. In this mindset, you have expectations, but also there is this constant inner noise of I need and I want and I need and I want and I'm deprived and everything is unfair and I have to. This mindset, there is wonder. Yeah. 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 It is extra. Yeah. 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 It's fine too. Yeah. Now, if we use this model, which is very interesting to grasp, if we use this model, if we live with this model, if we experiment and play with this model, there is more inner health, you could say, spiritual healthy state of mind, healthier attitude, chances are that what comes to you is also of better quality. If say there are two children and you have chocolates, and the one child says, give me, give me, give me. Yes, I'm hungry. All day I didn't eat. Give me, I need chocolate, chocolate, chocolate. And the other child says, yes, give to him. Give to him. I'm okay. I don't need. You give to him. To whom will you want to give? To the second one. The one who is not demanding, the one who is not asking, the one who is actually having this nobility to want to give to the other one. You understand? This is a dynamic that exists in life. More you want and demand and expect and demand and complain and you may get it, but you might easily lose it also. And actually, the laws of life, the forces of goodness want to cooperate with those who will use it for the benefit of everyone. And this is, I mean, I'm saying this, but this is for you to explore and experiment with. You will see the truth of it. Life cooperates with those who have higher, noble intentions in the long run. But experiment with little things and don't look at some famous people who appear to be having everything and not maybe nice. Experiment in your own inner little laboratory of your mind and your life. This is what is called the law of karma. Our internal factors invite external situations. This is the balancing factors. They are balancing there. They say when you run after your shadow, what happens? You ever tried to run after your shadow? Try to catch your shadow? And the shadow runs away. Yeah. If you follow your own way, shadow follows you. More we chase after things, more we want things, more there will be. Things will elude us. You find out internally, follow your own path. Things will come to you. These are the rules of the game of life, but we haven't, we haven't taken time to understand this. So if this is a picture of the human mind, this is a picture of the human mind. What is in this mind at present, in general? Crazy thoughts. How do we sketch that? Crazy thoughts. What else is in the mind?
One person has fear and anxiety in here on the chat.
fear, anxiety, confused, doubt. Well, they are all these. What kind of situations, what kind of dynamics will a mind like this invite to itself? You don't need to be Einstein to figure this out. Huh? Of course, of course, of course, of course. But coming back to this mindset, and I'm just simplifying things, no? And it helps to simplify things to understand the dynamics. This mind, there is a clear sense of self. I am a spiritual being, a being of light, a being of peace, a timeless being. Clear sense. I've come for a temporary period associated with the body. I'm not the body, body is vehicle. I'm not male or female, that is vehicle. Real self is a spiritual being with innate higher nature, higher potential. I've come from the dimension of silence and light. I belong to a family of souls, beings of light, and I've come here for an extra experience. So the innate feelings are of being secure. Soul never dies. It's an extra experience, and the whole thing will finish, and I will remain who I eternally am. So in that mind, there will be peace. There will be a strong sense of spiritual self-awareness. My identity will be based on what is non-physical, not on what is temporary. This mind is egoless. This mind is viceless. This mind is noble. This mind is peaceful and loving, has a soul-conscious attitude and soul vision. This mind, in what situations will it invite and attract? The same, yeah. This mind, there will be all kind of ego. I am what? I am beautiful, I am ugly, I am rich, I am poor, I am the doctor, you are not. All kinds of complication. I am male, you are female. All kinds of things are there. I am right, you are wrong. I am better, you are not. Or I am worse, you are better. All kinds of things. And all these negative emotions. What kind of situations will this attract? And nature, the physical universe, wants to see us in this state. So the physical universe will bring situations for us that push us in that direction. Yeah, yeah. So say I am extremely, extremely, extremely attached to my job. And I have a big ego, and I am the doctor. And everybody should call me doctor. So you get an invitation and it just says Mrs. or Miss or Mr. No, no, you don't open that invitation. They don't know what they should put doctor. What will happen? The physical universe will want to help me get out of this ego. What will happen? Yeah, some situation will come to humble you. Nothing wrong with doctor and position of doctor, but getting into the ego of it, that is what creates the problem. So something will come to criticize doctor. Some problem, doctor makes a mistake, loses license. And just this is to illustrate. Someone has lots of ego of physical beauty. What will happen? Early gray hair, early wrinkles. And those are just innocent, simple things. Maybe other things even. Yeah. Try and observe your life in this way, and you will start seeing. But is this good or is this bad news? Yeah. Also, because it says that actually you are in charge. But not externally. Internally, you are in charge. Put your inner positioning right, and then things will gradually fall in place. Just like the fire and the hand, just take your hand out of the fire. And then things will fall in place again. No, you can do what you want. Yeah. If you take your feet, if you take your foot now, and also those on Zoom, you hold your foot and put it in your neck. What will happen? The majority of us might not even reach up to here. Why not? That is not the natural posture of the body. And only some super trained people who have trained and stretched and trained and stretched, they can do it. But it is not the natural position of the body. So before you reach, lots of pain will happen. That pain is telling you this is not a natural position. That is why there is pain. This is not a natural position, not a natural inner positioning. That is why there is pain. Come back to the awareness of the self as a spiritual being. Come back to the awareness that we are guests and visitors and travelers in this world. Come back to the awareness of your true nature. Put your inner positioning right. Then body will cooperate. Then the physical universe will start to cooperate. Now, and people say things like that, and why are there wars and all of that? Nobody wants war. That's true. Nobody, or most people don't want war. But have we gotten rid of our violent tendencies inside? Wars don't start by themselves. It is because there is some arrogance, some greed, some jealous, all kinds of complications in human minds. And these tendencies to be hostile to one another, it is just on a bigger scale than there is war. But there are little wars in every home. There are little wars inside our own head. So when we get rid of that, then there will be no reason for external war. Why can't we live as brothers? We share the same planet. We're destroying the planet, we're destroying each other. We are the same family of human beings, human souls. Why can't we see each other as brothers? Even though you may eat differently, you may believe something different, is that a reason to kill? Why can't we share Earth's resources? Something wrong in here. War doesn't start, some gun doesn't shoot by itself. So all the factors are pointing at us inward. And the law of karma means your internal factors invite and decide your external circumstances, now and in the future. And what happened in the past, the internal factors of the past, they have created the present. Take the mic so that they can hear on Zoom.
Let's say, for instance, the war in the Ukraine and Putin, whatever Putin, people who are causing this. The other people who suffer is not necessarily their karma, right?
I would never say karma, but there are always lessons to learn for everyone. There are always lessons to learn. And not to say people, karma is not meant to condemn anyone or to say, but to understand, and at least let me understand my life. Mm. Yeah, that war is out of our control, but the inner war is in my control.
So that makes sense to me.
Yeah.
Maybe I am worrying about something I don't have control over. So now I have to, then maybe my blood pressure go down.
Very good. So there is this word that is called secure. It is a very important state to feel secure, but we try to make ourselves secure based upon external things, and external things will always be changing, can disappear. And so if this model becomes our default inside, that becomes the basis for your feeling secure. One question there's a question on Zoom I can't read, and then we will stop.
Yeah, you could unmute.
Yeah. Hi. So my question was not a question, but like a struggle that I face. When I'm working very hard to achieve something and I have a desire and I keep working towards it. And I realized that by the end of it, like by the time that I'm very close to achieving my goal, my happiness that comes from it also reduces.
Yeah, very good. Very good observation. One thing that was a big aha moment for me when one of our spiritual elders in the Brahma Kumaris said, instead of making so much effort to fulfill your desires, why don't you make effort to become deserving? So instead of desiring, be worthy to receive it. It's a big shift and one time we were part of a fair, health and beauty fair. They had invited us with a booth of meditation in the health and beauty fair. So it was quite a bit funny. The public is looking for health and beauty, and then, oh, meditation, how does that work? So one lady comes to the boat and she said, oh, what does meditation have to do with it? So I explained a little bit about meditation, creates peace of mind and she said, oh, you all are peaceful here, so nice. And then she said to me, so can I find a good husband here? She said to me. And she said immediately afterward, and she said, and he should be like this, he should be like this, he should be like this, he should be like this. Can I find someone like that here? And like this. So I started to smile. And she was quite frank, so I could also respond quite frankly. And I started to laugh. And I said to her, do you have all those qualities? And she said, of course not. That is why I want a husband like this. And I said, you think a husband like that, what kind of wife would he want? And she became a bit quiet. And she started to think. And then she said, he will probably want someone at least like him. So the person who was with me in the booth said to her, we are not, we're not here to give anybody a husband, but make yourself worthy. Then whatever and whoever comes in your life will match that worth. And I mean, we are not out to find anybody, a partner or anything, but it is a shift in thinking that happens. Instead of desiring and wanting and needing and expecting and demanding, make yourself worthy. Then, instead of demanding love, be loving. Then people will love you. Of course, this will not shift overnight. You have to reflect on this, imbibe this, grasp this, but it is useful to know these dynamics. The law of action.
Thank you so much. Because I think after what you mentioned, I also realized that I noticed that for me to be worthy in my own eyes, there's so much that I keep telling myself, and I keep indulging in self-sabotage.
Yeah.
So yeah, thank you for the answer.
Very good. Okay, so let's close with some moments of silence. reflection. So just take a few moments and come to this conscious awareness that the inner being, the real self, is a non-physical, invisible being of consciousness. Timeless, living light. Like a tiny star operating this body from the center of the forehead, behind the eyes. Free. Innately innocent and clean. Imperishable. Peaceful, living light. The real self is not this body and is not this bodily personality. The real self is spirit, soul. The timeless, God-like being of light. Thank you. Suja, is there anything to add or announce or close with?
No, just a reminder to everybody that if you've registered for the Thursday talk, you are good to go. You just keep the link and you could just come back every Thursday. And we have the Invisible World of Truth coming up July 2nd. If you missed the opportunity to be in the course right now, you're more than welcome to July 8th and 9th. Sorry, apologies. July 8th and 9th is a 2-day workshop, Invisible World of Truth. So we look forward to seeing y'all and thank you for joining us each week.
And those
Thank you. It was wonderful.
Those who are in the course, I will see you again tomorrow night.